This topic of suede versus nubuck versus rough out leather has been covered a good amount on YouTube, but not a lot of the videos are showing cross sections of the leather and showing what the real difference is visually. So I thought I'd do this quick video and show you guys the differences and show you how to like analyze it when you're out looking at different leathers and some key factors that identify different types of leather. So to begin with, just a quick rundown of where each type of leather comes from. If you're looking at that cross section of the leather, you've got the grain and you've got the flesh side. The grain is the part that faces out. The flesh side is that fuzzy part that's on the interior of the cow. And if you're confused on all this, I have a video like basically the leather 101 that goes through all this. But nubuck is up higher in the leather cross section and the higher quality stuff where the grain is, where the grain's like tighter and it's a lot nicer leather. And then suede is cut from those splits, or what people call the genuine leather, and so it's not quite as good a quality. And then rough out leather is usually like full grain leather, but it's reversed so that that fuzzy flesh side is facing out. And there's some characteristics that people claim for that and why they like that leather in boots and other products. So first, for the suede, I bought these sick Keds at the local thrift store because I could not find any boots there that had any suede on it. So if we look at the cross section, you can't see that tightly packed grain in there anywhere. It's all just that loose fiber. Benefits of it, it's a little bit cheaper than a nubuck. You can, if you're wanting that leather look and feel, you can buy a suede leather product and it'll still have that look, but it's not gonna last as long as like a nubuck. Suede is kind of one of those, it's kind of like a genuine thing where it's really interchangeable with a lot of different things. Like a lot of times with a nubuck leather, like this Timberland boot we just tore apart, people will refer to it as suede, or they'll refer to that texture as suede. So it's not saying it's a suede leather. This is a nubuck leather, but it's still described as suede because of that texture. And then on to nubuck. So nubuck is basically the higher quality version of suede, where they've taken a full grain or a top grain leather and they've buffed and sanded the top of the leather to give it that suede look, that napped, fuzzy, microfiber-ish look and feel. If you look at this cross section of these Timberland boots, which are a nubuck, if you look at the very top portion of the leather, you can see it's that tightly packed grain pattern where it goes from really furry on the inside and slowly gets to where you can't hardly even see the fibers on the outside. And so that's gonna be your good indicator of it being a nubuck leather. And because it's got that grain in the leather, it's gonna be a lot stronger and a lot higher quality than just a suede leather, because that grain at the very top cross section of the leather is a lot stronger and tightly packed fibers. And then a rough out leather is basically you're just taking like normal leather where most people would put the grain side out, and then you're just reversing it so that the flesh side, the fuzzy side, is facing out. A lot of people think that having the fuzzier side out, the fuzzier flesh side out, will help protect the leather because those bigger fibers are not gonna be as easily cut. So for example, if I take this little scrap piece of a full grain leather and I cut the top piece, you can see it just kind of splits open pretty easily. But if I cut the flesh side of it, it doesn't split open quite as much, and it might be splitting open the exact same amount, but it's just not as noticeable because you've got a lot looser fibers and it hides those flaws a lot better. So I think that's just as much of the reason why people want to use a rough out leather for work boots and stuff is they maybe don't look as good to begin with, but they might look better for longer. And that flesh side is protecting that really highly dense grain on the inside. So in theory, it could make the boot last longer. It's hard to really say, but that's why most people want to use a rough out boot. So that's kind of just the gist of the whole suede category when it comes to leather. So if you want to see more of these leather information videos, be sure to like and subscribe, because that's the only way that I'll know that you guys want to see them. So see ya.